on fire to the studio mics. Tune in weekly, we're dropping the spikes. Analyzing every punch, every kick that lands. Maniacs in the game, playing with fans' demands. Ken's got the insight, Joe's got the flair. Mapping out the fights will take you anywhere. So grab your popcorn, buckle up tight.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Oh, do we got a Frozen Joe to start? Oh, there we go.
I'm here. Stupid internet, man. Hey, I wish they didn't talk with that Huddle Sports stuff through the intro. We finally got an intro for the show, and half of it's taken up by a dude telling us about Huddle Sports. I'm like, all right. You know, I mean, I get it. We got to, like, get the Huddle Sports out there, but we finally got a dope intro. You know, thanks, Bill, the Packer fan.
Oh, yeah. Bill definitely hooked us up with a decent fucking one.
Yeah, dude. I dig it. And it's like customized, like personalized song, too. Like,
Yep.
I'm with it. So shout out Bill, the Packer fan. Thanks for that. You know, lots to talk about. First, I'm Joe, joined as always by Bare Knuckle Ken. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
So, you know, we got a lot to talk about with the upcoming cards. But first, I just want to. So on Monday, I'm training, right, and I'm sparring, and this dude is a former D1 wrestler at Mizzou, right? I don't know if you know about Missouri's wrestling program, but it's one of the elite wrestling programs in the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
And so this dude, he's a monster, you know, 250 pounds, Division I freaking wrestler. And so I'm like, hey, I want to work on my guard, right? So, you know, my guard retention is getting better, but eventually past my guard, I'm sitting there in side control, getting smashed out, mounted, smashed out, takes my back. So he put me in an arm bar, and I managed to escape the arm bar. Then he jumped from once I escaped the arm bar, I got back to guard, but just a second he passed again. And then like he ended up on my back. So he had me in this choke where he had like a collar grip, and then he had his forearm in the back of my head. And like that shit was tight. I was like, but I managed to escape that. So like, you know, he's not really getting frustrated, but like I could tell, like, you know, he didn't expect me to escape the arm bar, the choke. Like we're running to the end of the round. You know, there's like 20 seconds left. So I'm like, I'm just gonna survive. Like, you know, I'm just gonna survive without tapping. Like that'll be good for this round, right? And so about 10 seconds left, motherfucker hits a wrist lock, and I had to tap with like 6 seconds left.
Oh,
I got up, dude. I was like, you wrist locking motherfucker. Like, you know, because, like, I don't know. In our gym, we don't really use wrist locks. Like, I never see the colored belts really use them on each other. And they especially don't use them on white belts. Because it's sort of like taking candy from, you know. Wrist locks are always there. But I get it. Like, he was like, nah, like, motherfucker, you're going to tap before this is over. One way or the other, you're going to tap. So props to him. You know, he got the tap with 6 seconds left. But I just, it was funny because, like, you know, we were the only ones rolling. So, like, the rest of people that hung around after class were watching. And so, like, when I escaped the armbar, they're like, oh. And then, like, I escaped the choke. They're like, oh. And then, like, you know, even my professor was watching. Then all of a sudden they see the wrist lock, and like my professor, like him as I'm getting wrist locked, and he's laughing. Like I guess he saw it coming or something. He tapped this girl that trains with us. He tapped her. He's like, look, and then like, so I tapped with like 6 seconds. I was like, fuck. Like I went the whole 6 minutes, only, you know, escaped an arm bar, escaped a tight ass choke, only to get wrist locked. So I fucking, you know, I sit up, I fucking, you know, I hug the dude because, I mean, dude, there's animosity. Like, I love the dude. Like, You know, training with him makes me better. Like who gets to train with a D1 wrestler 3 times a week? You know what I mean? Like I do. So, you know, he's definitely made my guard game better. You know, he's made my like bottom side control game better because like sometimes I don't always get out, but sometimes I do. You know, he's made my submission a whole lot better because, you know, like I said, you know, I escaped the arm bar, like a full on tight arm bar. I escaped a tight choke, like so. Yeah, it was when you're getting smashed, you got to take the victories where you can get them. Like for me, I was like, I'm just gonna survive without tapping. But then that wrist locking motherfucker, dude. Like as soon as I dapped him up. Go ahead.
No moral victories here.
As soon as we got up, I dapped him up. I was like, "You wrist locking motherfucker!" And he started laughing. He knew. He started laughing, and I was like, "You were going to get that tap no matter what." Like, and he's like, "Hey man, you got to take what you can get," you know. And I'm like, "I ain't mad at you." Like, you know, but I expect for me to call you a wrist locking motherfucker for a little while, like, you know, like so wrist locking son of a bitch. But it is, man. Pete Carroll. Well, I would hope that I could kick a 73-year-old man's ass, but I don't know, man. Pete eats pretty healthy, dude. So, you know, ankle locks are great, but you know, I'm not proficient with them. That's more of like blue belt level and up. You know, we're kind of as white belts discouraged from shooting ankle locks because you don't. Number one, you don't really know what you're doing. Number two, you put another white belt in an ankle lock, they might want to try to be a tough guy and not tap and get their ankle broke. You know, it's just that's for like higher belts. There are some, like I do know some leg locks. Like, you know, I know a really good transition from half guard into a knee bar. But I don't tend to use those. At white belt, it's more about focusing on the basics, you know, control, the basic submissions like earth. Things like that, you know, rear naked chokes, collar chokes, like those kind of things. So that's what I, you know, try to get good at those first before you get fancy, you know. You're not going to see me doing barren balls and shit, you know. But, yeah, dude, so props to Mr. D1 wrestler. Like, you know, he got me. But it's a funny story. That's why I share it, you know, like, you know, I'm sure we'll be laughing about that down the road as blue belts. I'll be like, man, you remember that time you wrist locked me? You wrist locking motherfucker. Like, you know. Hey, but dude's an animal. Like,
a new name for him.
Dude's an animal though. Like, hey, there's no disrespect. Like, dude's an animal, you know. Like I said, former D1 wrestler. He's about 50 pounds. Like, you know, excellent, heavy top pressure. You know, he knows how to punish you, dude. Like, you know, when he starts stack passing or putting his forearm into your jaw, it's like he makes it comfortable, dude.
Oh,
that's part of the game, man. I've grown to kind of like it. I did, you know, when my cardio was shit, I used to hate it a lot because it's like you're getting smothered and you can't breathe. It's like I'm already fat and out of shape, and then like you're sitting here, you know, taking my wind even more. It's like it was miserable, but now I can roll, you know, I can roll for 12 minutes straight, like, you know, and I'm good. So, like, now it's just part of the game, you know, you get a forearm in your jaw, it just kind of wakes you up. You're like, you know.
So Joe no longer needs coffee in the morning, just needs a good old forearm in the face.
Oh, no, I still need coffee because I need coffee to get to jiu-jitsu, but, like, you know, well, I mean, it doesn't make me uncomfortable anymore, you know, like, it doesn't make me panic. Like, it's uncomfortable, don't get me wrong. It makes me uncomfortable in the sense that it hurts, but it's like, I don't panic and start just thrashing around, you know. It's like, okay, well, now I got to think. How do I get this forearm out of my jaw, you know? And because I'm not talking about, like, catching an elbow, a downward elbow or anything. I'm talking about, like, resting your weight with your forearm on their jaw. Like, you know, it's grinding you out, dude. Like, yeah, it's no fun. But you know, it's I don't know. You got to be sick to do jujitsu, dude. I kind of like it, you know. It's like fucking bring it, dude. Like, because if I get on top of you, rest assured, I'm doing the same thing, dude. Like, oh, it's coming back. It's coming back around, dude. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's that's the whole point of Carlson Gracie, man. Is smash, 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 make them so uncomfortable, like hurt them so bad that they give you the position you want just so you know, like that's what Carlson used to say, you know, like make it so uncomfortable for them that they're like they'll give you what you want just so you'll let the pressure up, you know, but you never let the pressure up. You just change the pressure, you know. So yeah. Anyways, if you couldn't tell, I absolutely love training jujitsu. You know, and it was cool because I was like, my professor watched that pretty much that whole round, so he got to see me like pull those escapes off and everything and get back to guard. So I'm like, it felt good because I'm okay. You know, at least he got to see me do some, you know, some jujitsu shit. So, you know, yeah, I mean, because I'm coming up like next month, I'll have a year training, and so I should be coming up. I don't want to speak too soon, but I should be coming up in the next couple months or so on my second stripe. So as long as, you know, I'm proceeding according to, as long as I'm on schedule, you know what I mean?
And about
But I
how
don't want to like count
would you be from the actual belt promotion besides just the stripe promotion?
Well, you got to get 4 stripes before you're eligible for the blue belt. So if I get my second stripe, I'm still 2 stripes away. I'm still at least another year minimum away. But I don't know if I'm going to get my blue years. Like, I think there's still a lot to learn. And like I said, my professor's not the kind of guy that's just going to put a blue belt on you for 2 years. Like, he's not going to put a blue belt on you until you're a blue belt level in his eyes. So I'm not counting the days, you know. Would I like to get my second stripe, you know, somewhere soon? Of course, because it means that I'm progressing at the, you know, the pace that you're kind of the average pace. But, you know, either way, when I get my blue belt, it's going to be like life, dude. When my professor hands me my blue belt, like, even though blue belt is like your first real belt promotion, like, and there's still such a long way to go, for me, like, I have such a tremendous respect for my professor and for the lineage that when he hands me that blue belt, it's like I know I can carry that blue belt to any gym in the world, and I may get, you know, I'm not gonna get smashed out like a white belt, like, you know what I mean? It's like that blue belt's gonna translate everywhere, dude. You know, some gyms you'll be better, gyms you know you'll be the lowest. Like, it's I train in gi. Unfortunately, I don't have time. There's 2 no-gi classes a week. I don't have time to train no-gi and gi, and you can only get promoted in gi, so I train in gi. You know, I would like, with more time, I would train no-gi because no-gi is more practical for situations. But, you know, at the training in gi, it doesn't matter, dude. If you get good enough at jiu-jitsu, then, you know, against an untrained opponent, you know, it's not going to matter too much if you don't have gi grips, because there's always t-shirts. They still wear pants, you know, the grips somewhat will still work, you know. And really, it's like, if they're untrained, doing anyway. So, you know, they're like, why is he grabbing my leg? Oh, because he's sweeping me. Like, you know, and here I go. So, yeah, dude. I like to train in gi also. I'm a huge fan. Like, I'm a huge, I believe in the art, right? Like, I'm a martial artist. I believe in the art, the discipline. I respect the Japanese culture that it comes from and the history of it. So for me, it's like there's almost a spiritual aspect to it as well, right? It's about dedicating yourself to the perfection of a craft, and like it's not just the physical part of it. It's not just learning the techniques. It's like becoming the person inside as well, you know? Like being shaped and molded by the discipline and by the respect and the honor and all that. I'm a big proponent of that. Not everybody is in BJJ. Like there's a I can't say like how many it is, but there are quite a few guys. Not so much in my gym, but there are, I'm sure, some. But in a lot of gyms, there's guys who take what jujitsu has to give you, but they're not really concerned with the tradition or the, like they think bowing is stupid. They think, bowing onto the mats, or like I bow when I come in the door to the gym. I bow at the door, like, because I respect my dojo, my gym where I train, like, so not everyone does. And that's fine, There's people that think that calling your professor is stupid. They don't like doing that. They'd rather just call them by their name. But I figure, like, it takes 8 years to get a PhD. And when somebody gets a PhD, you call him doctor. My professor's got 40 years in the game, dude. So he's got 5 doctorates worth of jiu-jitsu. So I don't have any problem calling him professor,
Yeah.
Like he's earned that title, And again, like I said, I'm kind of a stickler for the tradition and the respect of it. Like, there's a master-disciple kind of relationship as well, with your professor, with your instructor. And I believe, heavily in that, which is why I said, like, for me, getting a blue belt will be such a big thing, because, like, I respect my professor so much and the lineage, like, Master Carlson and, Master Carlson Jr., like, so for me, getting that blue belt will be huge. But anyways, enough about jiu-jitsu, or at least about my jiu-jitsu journey. Yeah. Let's get into the UFC cards, because the next one is Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison. That card is coming up next, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning of June.
Let me see if this is the right one. Nope, that's the other one. It's this one. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go. So we got Merab and O'Malley, the rematch. We'll get into that in a second. But first, I want to talk about Juliana and Kayla, because this fight has massive over it, but you can never really count out Juliana, man. Like, she, we talked about that first Amanda Nunes fight at length, right? And how, like, I kind of believe it was a bit of a work. Yeah, I kind of believe it was a work. But let's just, for the sake of argument, like, let's just say it wasn't, right? Like, Juliana came in and caught Amanda. If you believe the narrative, Juliana came in and caught an Amanda that wasn't really training hard, had been bombing out people for so long that she kind of lost her edge, and Juliana took advantage of it, right? And pretty much wiped the floor with her. Like, it was a dominant performance from. So it raises the question, like, do you think Kayla might be overlooking Juliana a bit? Looking at that Amanda Nunes fight and saying, like, well, all I got to do is smash this chick, and then, it's like the Amanda fight happens. It's the fight everybody. Like, do you think she might be overlooking Juliana?
It's definitely very easy to do, especially with how insanely strong Kayla is, that it's going to be really hard to not just think, oh, no matter what she does, I'm just going to be able to outmuscle her and just beat the brakes off of her type.
And that's what I'm saying, is like, that's exactly where I'm going with this, is like, are we all missing something here? Like, because, if you look at the odds, man, like, I would not be surprised if the odds, nice. That's what's up. If you look at the odds, I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't looked at the money line, but I wouldn't be surprised if
look that up right now.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all if Kayla's a huge favorite.
Now, according to DraftKings, it is Juliana is plus 450 and Kayla Harrison is minus 625.
Yeah. Okay. So minus 625. That means that in order to win $100, you have to bet $625 on Kayla. For Juliana, you bet 100, you win 450. So she's a 4.5 to 1 underdog, and maybe even more because Kayla is minus 625. That's, dude, those are ridiculous odds, especially for a title fight. So that perfectly leads into my question. Like, are we all missing something? Are we all overlooking Juliana? You know, like, is it possible that we're all overlooking her and not really giving her a chance in this fight? But maybe she's more of a live dog than people think.
It's very credible, but I think a lot of people are going in off of the hype of Kayla Harrison there, especially since she's had one loss her entire career, and not only that, has the freaking physique of a Greek god.
Yeah, or a lab experiment. I mean, I'm not the only one who said it. Juliana has outright accused steroid use. She's like, look at her body and tell me that she hasn't used roids at some point. You know, she's like, she straight up said she's looking super juicy. Like, you know, I don't necessarily disagree, but are we missing something here? Like, is Juliana more of a live dog than people are giving her credit for? I think so. Juliana, look, I know she talks a lot, right? She talks a lot of shit. She talks way bigger than her resume allows for. She barely won the fight against Pennington. It was a split decision that a lot of people felt could have gone the other way. Juliana has pillow fists, like absolutely pillow fists. She has no power. So I don't think she's going to be able to keep Kayla off of her with power, but she can do it with good footwork and good technical striking. But here's the thing. Juliana's a dog. Like, she got ragdolled. I mean, she got dog walked in that second fight with Amanda Nunes, right? For 5 rounds, she got beat the fuck up. But you know what didn't happen? Get finished. A lot of people get finished by Amanda in the first round. Juliana took those punches, took the takedowns, the constant ground and pound for 5 rounds, and didn't quit. She's a dog. So that, you know what we haven't seen is Kayla a dog. Like, we know that Kayla is strong. She has, you know, she's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist in judo. So the ground game would, at least as far as the takedowns and things like that, definitely favor Kayla. But has Kayla ever been dragged into deep waters? Like, been to a 4th round where she's getting pieced up on the feet, but, you know, like, she's tired from the ground? What's Kayla's heart like? I think we know.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And that's, to me, what makes this fight compelling. Is like, can Juliana just out-grit Kayla for 5 rounds? You know? Like, it's going to be a nasty I think it's going to be a nasty fight. I think if Kayla gets her on the ground, she's going to try to ground and pound the shit out of her. But does she have the power or the technical savvy as far as ground and pound to finish her? Because if she doesn't finish her, if she allows Juliana to hang around, you know,
what belt is Juliana Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
That I don't know. Why don't we look that up as a matter of fact? Because that does matter. Like the judo advantage, the throws and the hip tosses definitely goes to Kayla. But when they're on the ground,
She's a purple belt.
okay. What about Kayla? Does she have any jujitsu?
Let me see. She is. I'm not seeing anything that says that what belt she is, but I seen 8 years ago that she said that she's going to start training jujitsu, and that's on top of her 6 degree black belt she has in judo.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting because judo isn't just throws.
Oh, we've got a frozen Joe. Yeah, I am not seeing anything at all about her having a belt in actual jujitsu. Just a whole bunch of her having different belts in the judo. Yeah, I'm not seeing fucking anything about her.
Come on,
Yeah, there you go.
stupid internet. There I am. Purple belt is about 5, 6, 7 years of solid training, like consistent training. So Juliana's not a novice. And if Kayla is not training jujitsu, like if she had even a blue belt, it would have mentioned it, right? So that tells me that she probably doesn't. So it's going to be her 6th degree black belt in judo versus a purple belt in BJJ,
Yeah,
which
yeah. From what I'm seeing, it seems more like she's training jujitsu with an MMA coach, not just a specific Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor, to where she's not getting any belts for it. Because supposedly, her words were that she is going to start training in BJJ, and she said that 8 years ago, but I haven't seen anything past that as a follow-up.
mhm. Like I said, if she even had a blue belt, you would know. It would say something. And you said something interesting there that she's training jujitsu for MMA. Jiu-jitsu for MMA is different. Well, grappling, I should say. MMA grappling is focused on countering jiu-jitsu, and it teaches you some jiu-jitsu, but it's mainly like for guard passing, things like that. So I don't think it's quite as in-depth. It's like it trains you for specific situations, but I don't know. I would definitely give Juliana the advantage in jiu-jitsu, which is good because she's going to need it because she's going to end up on the ground. Like Kayla's going to definitely hip toss her, or I'm assuming it's some kind of hip toss or some kind of judo trip. Juliana will end up on the ground at some point. The question is her jiu-jitsu good enough to keep Kayla from ground and pounding her? Also, Juliana is, like I said, she's tough, man. Like, she can take a beating. So, does Kayla get tired of punching her before Juliana goes unconscious?
Oh, that's definitely a way to look at it.
I mean, I'm just being real. Like, you can sit there and pound on somebody, but if you don't have the power to put them to sleep, or you don't hit them right on the button, like, if Juliana, that's my point, is if Juliana can wiggle and squirm enough to just stay in the fight till the fourth or fifth round, like, does Kayla get tired? What's her gas tank like? We don't know, because we haven't really seen it. She's looked dominant in her UFC performances, but she's been in control the whole time, and she hasn't finished. She's not 100% in finishes in the UFC. So to me, it's interesting. It's an interesting fight because I think people are counting Juliana out, and I don't think they should. I think she's tougher than people give her credit for. And dude, look, if I'm gonna put it this way, she's plus 450. If you drop $50, you make like 225.
Worth a flyer.
It's worth a flyer, man. Just the money line alone is worth a flyer. Especially because that's the overall fight. If you look at the other odds, like Juliana by submission, right? What's the odds on Juliana by submission?
Let's see if it even gives that one yet. Hold on. Yeah, no, this one doesn't give actual breakdowns of it. It's just the whole fight so far. Let me see if I can find a different one that shows it. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything breaking it down yet.
Yeah. Well, either way, keep an eye on those odds as the fight gets closer, because I think that you could do a nice little parlay where it's like Juliana to win, then as a prop bet, Juliana to win by submission. Stack those odds, and also, if you're willing to bet on a couple of the other fights or one of the other fights on that card, you could do like a 3-leg or a 5-leg parlay, and you could really hit some big money. And if you don't, you're out $50. Not a big deal, right?
I was gonna say we've all blown the $50 on absolute nonsense. It was worthless. So
yeah, it's basically lunch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's worth taking a flyer on, dude, in my opinion. And then so we have Merab and O'Malley, the rematch. Does that fight interest you?
For the fact of I want to see if O'Malley actually has beefed up his wrestling game. We know how he likes to sit on the outside and snipe with his stand-up, which isn't the most entertaining style of fighting, but it's definitely very effective. But he also got exposed on the ground last time.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see, because didn't he go to, what was it, Dagestan or something like that to go train wrestling with them?
I don't know if he did. I know that he said he was going to.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was going to go to Dagestan. for 6 months. I don't know if he did or not. You can look it up. You can Google it. I mean,
That's what I'm doing right now. Oh, he's put up a couple of shorts of him fucking training wrestling, but it doesn't say where.
well, at least that answers one question. We know that he's trained his wrestling.
He might be because I just seen it that Adesanya and O'Malley have been training. No, never mind. Yeah, he's just training with Israel Adesanya.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say Israel
That's
isn't
not
really.
the training partner I would choose for this fight.
I was gonna say, isn't Israel not known too well for his wrestling? Because what I
Yeah.
know Israel of is his fucking stand up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Israel's not the training partner I would choose for this fight.
Mm-hmm.
I would call Islam. I'd be like, hey, Islam, can we train together for a couple months?
Yeah, when I first glanced at it, that's who I thought they were talking about at first, and then I realized, oh wait, no, that's Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have called Islam myself, but I mean, it's an interesting fight to see if like O'Malley's wrestling has come along at all. But I kind of expect the same kind of fight that we had last time. Like Merab is going to spam takedowns, 10, 15 attempts a round over the course of 5 rounds. And I think he's just going to out-gas tank O'Malley, dude. You know? Maybe O'Malley can hit the sniper shot this time. It's possible. And, Merab doesn't have the best chin. Like, he's been clipped. He's been clipped in a few of his fights, So if O'Malley can land, he has the chance. But it's going to be hard to land that shot when dude's on your legs the whole fight, What about you? How do you see that?
Yeah, with him not really training or changing up his training style, I think we're looking at relatively more of the same. And we all know from how I've talked about Sean O'Malley before on this podcast, I'm not a big fan of him anyway. So him taking an extra loss isn't going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah. You know what? In the past, I haven't been a huge O'Malley fan, but I felt like he took the Merab loss, in stride. The Cheeto loss, he was a bad sport about. He was like, oh, I'm still undefeated, this and that. But he took the Merab loss in stride, I mean, it was kind of obvious, like, what could he really say? It was so dominant and it was just so obvious, but at the same time, he took it in stride. He's like, yeah, he beat me, and I'll go back to the drawing board. So it kind of made a little bit of a fan out of me. Like, he realized that there's some holes in his game that he needs to clean up. So we'll see if he did that. Kelvin Gastelum is on the card too. I found that interesting. But Kelvin, in my opinion, he's kind of been washed for a while now. But we'll see. So yeah, that's that card. And then we have UFC 317, which
Yep.
is the Topuria and Charles.
That's the one I cannot fucking wait for.
Yeah, dude. I want Charles to win so bad. I just don't know if he can do it.
Yeah.
And my professor doesn't either. I was talking to my professor about it this morning. I was like, who do you like in that fight? And he said, it's not just about the fighter, it's about the person, He's like, we know what kind of fighters they are, but we don't know what kind of person they are. Like, what I think he's talking about is like grit, toughness, character, right? Like, we know Charles is a dog, dude, right? Charles is a dog. Topuria, I haven't really seen him challenged yet, right? Like, he's been knocking everybody out. And, like, what I mean by challenged is we haven't seen anybody really give him any trouble. He beat Volkanovski pretty easy. Knocked out Holloway. Although I thought Holloway was fighting a pretty good fight until he got caught. I don't know. What do you think about that fight? How do you see that fight going?
Ooh. That one I think has a real chance to either be an absolute like submission type of war, which I think from what I've seen of the two fighters that favors Oliveira. But if it stays standing, I gotta give it to Ilya, or at least the more it stays standing up, the higher I'm going to put my odds for Ilya.
Mm-hmm.
If it can stay a pure jiu-jitsu match, I think Oliveira has enough of the skill in his jiu-jitsu that he can pull this one out.
I agree. I think it's imperative for Oliveira to get this to the ground. Or not even necessarily to the ground. Because one thing that Oliveira has shown that he can do is get you up against the cage and just jump on your back from a standing position.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean is, go ahead.
It's not like Oliveira has absolutely no chance in the stand-up. The guy's got quite a few knockouts on his record too, but to me, he doesn't have quite the same pop as Ilya.
No, not even close. But he did drop Chandler. He did drop Gaethje.
Mm-hmm.
And Gaethje's got a fucking chin, dude.
Yeah. I was gonna say we've talked about that shit on this show multiple times.
Mm-hmm. So the fact that Charles was able to drop Gaethje, that's impressive. Like, I think his stand-up will allow him to be competitive long enough, but I do agree with what you said, that the longer that fight stays standing, the more it leans in Ilya's favor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm Charles, I'm bum rushing him up against the cage and I'm trying to jump on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ilya can wrestle, but what we haven't seen is how does he do with an offensive jiu-jitsu guy like Charles?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing for Ilya. We've seen that Ilya can wrestle offensively, right? Like, he can not only strike, but he can shoot takedowns. He can control on the ground, that kind of thing. But it's a whole different story when another guy is jumping on your back. Like, how do you deal with having a guy on your back that's a world-class jiu-jitsu fighter? Like, world-class. I think Charles is a former world jiu-jitsu champion, as a matter of fact. Can you look that up real quick? I think he's like literally won, like ADCC or IBJJF. I think he's like literally a former legit world champion. And that raises an interesting question for the fight, right? Like, what happens if Charles manages to, during that cage clinch, if Charles manages to get a duck under or, an underhook? Go ahead.
He's won multiple championships in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He won the Sao Paulo Championship in 2004 for a second time. Kappa Nako, I couldn't pronounce that right if I fucking tried. Jiu-Jitsu in 2005 and 2006. He's won a total of 16 medals in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Mm-hmm. Any world championships? Like IBJJF?
Let's see.
Or ADCC?
He's a two-time CBBJE World Jiu-Jitsu champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like I said, he's got world titles. Also, the Sao Paulo Championships. Don't take that lightly, dude. Like, to win Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu championships in Brazil is not the same as winning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments in the United States.
Okay? And he won a couple of those Sao Paulo ones.
Yeah, like the Brazilian Nationals is like a world. It's kind of like a world championship. They have 10,000 competitors.
Fucking A.
In the Brazilian Nationals, right? Like at certain weight classes, like lightweight, you'll have to fight 16 fights in order to win the tournament. 16 fights, dude. And you have to like pretty much go undefeated in 16 straight fights to win the tournament, dude. Like my professor competed in the Nationals, and he got like 5 fights in when he was like a blue belt or a purple belt. Like he got like 5 fights in, dude, which is still, think about that. Like, and he's fighting at like lightweight, right? Where you have that 16 fights. He got 5 fights in as like a blue belt, but think about 10,000 competitors, dude. How many people are in your bracket? And my professor won 5 fights, like, as a blue belt. This is before he was a black belt. Now, I mean, he's an older guy now. He's in his 50s, but shit, I'll still put money on him. Like, bro, I'm telling you, my professor is like 160 pounds, but he feels like a 250-pound man on top of you, dude. Like, his pressure is so heavy. Like, fuck, dude. And it's like, I love it because, like, he'll hop on you, like, he'll be demonstrating a technique, and he'll like have his top control on you, and he'll be like, move. And you're like, yeah, I can't move. He's like, move.
Dry in here.
He's like,
now,
move.
with these Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, is it just divided by weight class, or is it divided by weight class and belt?
I think unless it's an open, it's divided by weight class and rank. Okay. So you'll have like blue belts, you'll have purple belts, you'll have and then you have masters, and I think the masters is for black belts of any degree. I think. Don't quote me on that though. But either way, dude, Charles, multiple-time world champ, right? Won the Sao Paulos. That's what I was trying to say is like winning those Sao Paulos is no joke, dude. Like winning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments in Brazil, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like a national sport. It's almost like soccer, dude. Like, oh, there's a large number of people in Brazil that train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, and it's the home of it, like, so it's one of those things where, to win a tournament in Brazil, like, you got to be pretty freaking good, dude. To win a national tournament like a Sao Paulo, you got to be really freaking good, dude. So Charles is a beast. He's got excellent offensive grappling. He's super fast when it comes to jumping on your back. So that's going to be his path to victory, in my opinion. Is like, can you bob and weave and avoid those punches? Get Topuria into the cage, clinch the cage for a second, and try to jump his back. Can you do that, or get him down somehow? But try to jump his back. Can you do that?
No.
I don't know. What are the odds on that fight?
This is going to be a harebrained idea. But with there being a decent amount of discrepancy in their jiu-jitsu, and with Topuria being a good wrestler, would it be a halfway decent strategy for Oliveira, or if Topuria comes to shoot in it all, just let him take you to the ground and then work your transitions from there?
No, I don't think it would be stupid, but I think it would be stupid on Topuria's part to take him down. Like, why would you go into your opponent's wheelhouse, right? Like, why am I going to take the fight to where you're the most comfortable? Like, to me, that's like foolish. That's opening up opportunities for you that I shouldn't. If I'm Topuria, I'm going to stand in the middle of the cage and make him come to me. I'm not even going to chase him around the cage on the potential that he might sidestep me and put me against the cage and then jump on my back. Like, if I'm Topuria, I'm going to stand right in the middle, point down at the middle of the cage and say, dude, let's go. Like, plant your feet and let's fucking rock. Now Charles isn't going to do that. I would hope that Charles is not going to do that.
There you go.
If I'm Charles, I'm standing with my back on the cage like, fuck you. Like, I'm standing with my back on the cage like, fuck you. Come here. Like,
come here.
You come here. You want to fight? You come here. Like, that's going to be, I think, an interesting dynamic of the fight, is like where the fight takes place. Not just on the ground or standing up, but in the stand-up. Like, is Charles going to go into the range to strike with Topuria? Is he that confident in his striking and in his ability to evade the power shots that he's going to be willing to like exchange with Topuria? Because for me, if I'm Charles, I'm going to stay outside and I'm just going to leg kick the shit out of you until you decide to come in and try to take me down. Like, I'm going to avoid all striking exchanges with you. Like, I'm just going to throw jabs and throw leg kicks and circle. I'm going to get on my bike. Circle, and make you come to me. And, because I'm winning rounds. Like, I'm landing leg kicks. You're not landing anything. So it won't be a pretty fight. It'll probably piss fans off, but it's a good strategy for Charles. I wouldn't engage in any boxing exchanges if I can help it, because all it takes is one for Topuria to land one shot and the fight's over. So I'm not going to, that's his chance. So I'm not going to give him that chance. I'm going to make him wrestle me. I'm going to make him come in, put me on the cage, and you want to take me down? Go ahead and take me down, because that's not only is Charles really good at jumping on the back, standing up, but Charles is really, really good in transitions on the ground. Like, he's really good at sweeps, at escapes, at creating scrambles where he can take advantage. So yeah, I want to test that part of Topuria's game if I'm Charles. I'm like, shit, I might even just, if he comes in close to me, I might even just lay down and pull guard. I might just grab him and pull guard, like pull him down on top of me. Here you go, buddy. Like, I don't know if I don't know for sure if I would pull guard, because that gives him the opportunity to punch me in the face on the ground. And Topuria, like,
I was going to say, though, but but don't you think Oliveira's fucking jiu-jitsu is good enough to where he can hold him close to him where he can't posture up?
Topuria is strong, and he only needs one, man. And one thing Topuria really has a lot of is precision with his striking. Like, he has laser accuracy, dude. When if he aims for your chin, he's not putting it on your temple, he's putting it on your chin, you know? Like, he doesn't just wing and pray, dude. Like, he has really good punch accuracy. So I don't know necessarily. It's a risky strategy for Charles to try to pull guard, but because all it takes is one little shot on the chin and you're going to sleep.
But hey, if that's your only option, other than standing up and banging with the guy, you might as well take the 5% chance over 0.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I personally hope it doesn't come down to that for Charles, because 5%, while it's better than 0, it's still not great, right? Well, feel free to ask, Brent. We're here to answer questions, man. We're here to answer. That's not that I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. Take the 5% over the 0%, but 5% isn't really good either, dude. That means it's going to fail 19 times out of 20. So, for me, I would rather, like I said, I'm gonna stay outside and leg kick him, and I'm gonna use body kicks, like side kicks, like really long kicks into his body, front kicks like to the chest. I would use that front, like John Jones chest kick, that front chest kick.
Which one of them has a longer reach? Do you know offhand?
Oh, I think it's gonna be Charles for sure. Charles is, just by their biotypes, like Topuria is really short and compact. Charles is taller and lankier, so you can look up the tail of the tape, but I would almost guarantee it's going to be Charles with the reach advantage, and definitely with the legs. So, like I said, I would leg kick, I would side kick, I would front snap kick, like to the chest, whatever it takes to keep Topuria.
He's got a fucking 5-inch reach advantage on him.
That's what I'm saying, and it's only longer with the legs. So if I'm Charles, I'm going to kick the shit out of him to keep him at kicking range the whole fight and make him get Topuria to where he has to run in and grab your legs, so that you can create that scramble that you need to create that window for the submission. Because I don't think Charles is knocking out Topuria. I don't see it happening. So, yeah, I think that's Charles's ideal strategy, is throw lots of kicks, side kicks, leg kicks, calf kicks, front snap kicks to the chest, to the midsection, to the sternum, to keep pushing him back. Use your length and force him to come run in on you and chasing a double leg or a single or a high crotch, and go to the ground. Okay, no problem. Like, now I can create scrambles. I can create for myself, rather than just waiting on the ticking time bomb, because on the feet, that's what it is. Every minute, every moment that they're on the feet, it's going to be like I'm waiting for the bomb to detonate, dude.
Yeah, and
I'm going to be really nervous.
Unfortunately, speaking of that ticking time bomb, we have reached the ending of our show. We want to thank everybody that was watching. We want to especially thank the guys that took their time to comment. We want you to have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you back next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central for another episode of MMAniacs.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that